Election season rolls on. Hillary and Donald are already jabbing even before they are officially the nominees. Bernie says he is in to win it despite the fact that he is now being marginalized by the two presumptive nominees. Recent events in the press. Hillary is busy trying not to get indicted. Donald is busy defending, among other things, Trump University. And libertarian Gary Johnson is busy just trying to get at least one media outlet to remember his name. Jim, what about this race has your interest this week?
Well, first of all, obviously there's not been as much about the race on given the horrific events in Orlando. So we've been granted a reprieve, although frankly not a reprieve we would ever want to get.
Right.
So what I do see, what's interested me is the reaction though. I think that is a real world situation that these candidates are now having to react to. I think the fact that for whatever reason, the fact that Bernie really has said not much of anything has kind of sealed his fate, and maybe they're just not covering it. I think Governor Johnson really has not said enough, in my view, about it. I think Hillary has said some things that I don't agree with. Donald has said some things that I don't agree with. So, but I've been interested in seeing what the reaction is to this from the candidates. That's been my big takeaway for the week.
All right, Mary, you had some thoughts to contribute?
I would just like to point out the sweet irony that Hillary Clinton says that you should not be able to purchase, an assault rifle an assault rifle if you are being investigated by the FBI. Yet she is being investigated by the FBI. So, Hillary, just doing what she does best.
Well, no, that file she's being investigated is currently sitting in the bottom right desk drawer in the Oval Office. Okay, I think it's been shoveled away because I think President Obama is repaying a favor. Jim, do you have something to contribute?
Well, I listened to both candidates about this whole Orlando deal. I mean, the media was just focused on Hillary, Trump, Hillary, Trump, Hillary, and it was going back and forth. Saw it on Fox News today. Trump has some key points, and he's right. Maybe we should, immigration itself, we need to stop it. Get our stuff back into order, because right now we're a mess.
But here's the problem. There is very low incident of people who we have brought into the system legally. That we know of, but I mean, there's very low incident at this point committing these kind of heinous crimes. And the ones that cross the border that we don't know about, unless we catch them, number one, I don't think you're going to stop that immediately, and you're not going to stop it by a ban, because they never asked permission to come in anyway. Banning someone assumes that they asked permission.
And it didn't stop the San Bernardino attack.
It didn't.
California has very strict gun laws. They have a ban on assault weapons. That didn't stop him. And we think about other terrorist attacks, the Boston bombing, that was a bombing, not an attack with a gun. So, I mean, hate to say it, but if there's a will, there's a way. And terrorists are going to think about all of those options when they go to carry out that attack.
What I found interesting out of the entire thing was the candidates' immediate reactions. Okay, because I woke up Sunday morning and the news is on, and I see, Donald Trump tweeted, and my hearts go out essentially to those that were lost. And Hillary Clinton's response, her first words were, "Woke up." Okay, Hillary Clinton went to bed on Benghazi and woke up to Orlando, is the way I view it. Okay, if I was running for the leader of the free world, I would have had someone come knock on my door at 3 a.m. and say, "Listen, there's a terrorist attack going on in Orlando. I want you to be aware of it."
Right.
Okay. She could be monitoring the situation. We don't need to be instantly on social media blogging about everything that's going on. But as a person who's looking to be the commander-in-chief of the strongest nation in the world, she should have some type of investment of what's going on and knowledge of what's going on.
Start role-playing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I think Trump was woken up, and the first thing you see from Trump was our hearts and our condolences to the victims of the Orlando shooting.
Was it? I didn't see that.
I thought he
Twitter.
said, thanks for the congrats. I was right about, the fact.
Yeah, I
that
didn't see.
thought
I didn't see the condolence till afterwards.
They quickly turned into political leverage.
Well, absolutely.
Okay.
That took
For
about
sure.
12 seconds.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I thought
I
10,
mean,
really.
Trump was on his tweet about an hour before Hillary was on hers, and I'm sure it was a, probably an associate of Hillary that put her tweet up.
But it's not about who gets there first. It's
I
about
know.
knowing what to say and
50
knowing how to
people died.
react.
That's what matters. That means
Exactly. Well, it's 50 lives that were snuffed out.
Yep.
50 lives that never had a chance to grow. 50 people that had a chance to have loved ones, and 50 families that have suffered tremendous loss that will never be replaced.
Well, I agree, but I think it was interesting too that Hillary Clinton says, is blaming Republicans, saying that, they want terrorists who are, or potential terrorists who are on the terrorist watch list to be able to purchase guns. That wouldn't have prevented this because the guy wasn't on the terrorism watch list. So I just thought that was interesting that she tried to blame.
Donald Trump wants a wall.
Well,
Okay, and the wall wouldn't have prevented this because he's already here.
right.
So, I mean, we have a challenge that where the political stances that each of these candidates have are tenuous at best based upon the situation. How are you going to defend? Well, I'm going to ban all Muslims. Okay, well, I'm a Muslim. Today I'm going to say I'm a Christian. Can I come into your country?
Right.
Okay. Can you ban travel from other countries? Yes, we could ban travel from other countries. Is that fair and justified to enact?
So the other thing, again, going back to the conversation we had in the last segment about it, I think Gary Johnson is just, in theory, I agree with some of what he says on his website. I think it's very 30,000-foot view, and I don't think there would be many people that would disagree that we need to spend less as a country. We need to, do all of these great things. The problem is he's not talking about how. How is he going to do that? He doesn't have a plan and that type of thing. But from my perspective, this whole thing with Orlando has really sealed the deal on him in terms of just pushing him out of the way. I don't think he recovers from
he also came out with a very strange position on guns. I believe was one of his social media responses. It was sort of an opposition and promoting gun control. And that's kind of contrary to the way I understand a libertarian philosophy is. So, I thought that really minimalized, and I heard some reports today he came in, he's currently polling about 9%, but I think that's probably a high number at this point, as more information becomes available.
So I did see a poll where Hillary is actually leading by 6 points in a national poll this week. So that's an interesting turn of events. Now, I think that poll was taken at or before the time of the problem in Orlando, so I don't know how that'll impact.
Well, the Bloomberg poll that was released has her up by 10 points currently, and that was
that
was this afternoon.
Okay.
And that had Gary Johnson in at a whopping 9%. So it's still too early.
But 9% could throw this election one way or the other.
9% would be the difference in this election.
Right.
But don't they have to be at like 11 or 12 to even get on the stage to debate?
I
Isn't
thought
that-
it was 10.
Is it 10? Okay.
10.
I wasn't, okay.
Yeah.
The other
So
thing
he's almost
is,
there.
the other thing is that we've
He's
heard very
close.
little from in terms of the primary voters are independents, because that is because in most states they're shut out of the primary election process.
That is true.
Including Maryland.
But are we to the point of election fatigue already?
We should be.
Because it's been such a long primary season. Maryland hasn't had a relevant primary in my lifetime until this year. So I think we as John Q. Public are kind of at the point of election fatigue, of getting tired of hearing these people stand in front of a camera and speak.
Well, the other problem is, in my opinion, the election cycle just never ends anymore. Because in 2014, we elected in November, and by December we were back on the who's going to be doing what in 2016, and we've heard about it ever since, and it's taken up a great deal of media time and effort.
Well, the Hillary email scandal has taken up a lot too. And Trump is going to pounce her. He's going to pounce her this week. He was supposed to do it Monday, but with the Orlando incident, he kind of said, "Nope, not going to do it." So he's going to go after her. I guess he has some information that he's going to lay out.
Okay, well, as we're wrapping up the segment,
Yeah.
Mary, Trump University in 10 seconds or less. Thoughts? Is that going to be a sandbag for him?
Well, I can't believe that he's actually saying that the judge is not qualified to rule on the case because of his heritage, his Mexican heritage, but he was
Yeah,
born in
okay.
Indiana.
That
All
was
right.
kind of dumb.
Jim, Hillary Clinton email, is that going to be an impact on that the files are shelved this way?
I don't know. I think that that Barack Obama is so much in her court at this point. I think there's a big contradiction there in terms of him being able to carry out his duties to instruct his Justice Department to prosecute her if need be, but I don't know what it's going to do.
Very good. All right, up next on the flip side, what is next for the city of Hagerstown and who's getting involved? Our panel has the details in 3 minutes.